our guest today, Sherrie Zenter. She's amazing because she's kind of into this financial side of life. So I would like you, Brian, to introduce her.
Well, I'm really excited about tonight's guest. With all this Obamacare stuff going on, you know that the exchanges are now open as of October 1st. In some states, the exchanges are run by the federal government because the states choose not to participate or something, but they have to. Now, I live in California, so my state, they set up their own exchanges, and our guest tonight, Sherrie Zenter, is a recognized expert on Obamacare. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Oh, hi, Sherrie. Here she is.
Hi, Brian.
Yeah. Hi, Sherrie. How are you?
Hi, Ninon. Great. Thank you very much.
I'm going to do a tiny little intro, Sherrie, and then we have a whole. Oh boy, do we have a lot of questions for you about Obamacare. Now, Sherrie, since 1985, you have been had management experience with top producing high-risk brokerage and insurance companies. And you are now a senior vice president at Momentous Insurance Brokerage, which I know very well. My firm and myself, we do a lot of business. Almost all of my entertainment clients have their insurance coverage with Momentous. They're an absolutely fabulous company. And Sherrie, your specialization is providing life, health, and disability solutions to those in the entertainment, manufacturing, and distribution industry, as well as some other markets. And you're actually an elected member of the Anthem Blue Cross Advisory Board, and you're at the table when they make changes to their rates, design structure, marketing strategies. You've been recognized by the LA Business Journal as a leading wealth and insurance advisor, and we consider you an expert on Obamacare. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
I think, yeah, Sherrie's amazing. I think she's accomplished so much, and it's so wonderful to see all this with a woman.
Thank you both for the invitation and to participate in the show this evening. I would like to say that this marketplace is up and down, and I'm amused every day with all the challenges that take place in our healthcare industry. Not only do we have the exchanges to deal with, but we also have the private marketplace for insurance carriers to deal with that is not fully operational as of today's date on plans and what the rates are going to look like come January 1st, 2014. Today, for example, I've been on hold for 2 hours waiting for Social Security Administration to pick up the phone and deal with me with a client on the phone. And that's amazing. That just looks at what our budget is and what we have to deal with the lack of support in our industry.
Does that mean that before, when you would call Social Security, that you would get an answer right away, or you would at least 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
I would say 5 to 10 minutes, but to hold for 2 hours is ridiculous. You've got to put in your number.
You're not the only person holding for 2 hours.
Correct. Correct. I think a lot of Americans, you're seeing a shutdown in employment because of the lack of coming to a budget. So I think it plays a lot. You know, what started out with 3,000 pages of legislation for this Obamacare is now up to 30,000 pages. So it continues to change every single day. So when I start my seminars, I always like to say what Reagan liked best about Alzheimer's is that he was able to meet new people every single day. And what I like about Obamacare is I get to learn something every single day. So
they keep adding papers.
Exactly. So, you know, doing insurance since 1985, I'm kind of like you. I'm at the age of 39, and I stay at the age of 39.
39 and holding. Good for you, Sherrie.
You are
exactly.
Good company, my dear. We're all 39 and holding on this show for at least an hour.
That should be our topic.
Now, Sherrie, break it down a little bit for. I can't believe that there's no one out there that has ever heard of Obamacare. I happen to be rather optimistic. You know, people are complaining but don't you think that maybe some of these glitches are because too many people overloaded the system and they actually crashed the server?
I think that they were not prepared on their server for people to dial in. I still think they're not prepared to even sell it yet. I think that you're going to see a lot of people just curious. I know that I signed in the first day just to get a glimpse of it, and I was cut down. I could not access the system. So we have a lot of individuals in the marketplace that are interested in the exchange program, and they're unable to actually access it, to look at it, so they come to me to be that smart consumer and sell the right product to them.
But if you keep getting a different paper every day, and as you said, it started out with so many papers, and every day it's sort of getting different, and more papers are coming, how can you give anybody out there the actual what it is?
Well, I think the exchange programs pretty much are in line to what you're going to see in the marketplace. What is waiting for brokers to look at with clients is the private industry on the marketplace, with all the insurance companies outside of the exchange, and looking to see what those price and plans are like, because you got to remember there's only 4 plans available in the exchange, and those plans are either a silver, bronze, gold, or platinum. And depending on your availability of your income, your age, the state you live, the zip code, tells you what your cost will be to go into these plans. So Obamacare today, to me, when I educate my clients, it's about being a smart consumer going forward. You have to be that person to know how to save on out-of-pocket cost. You have to be that smart person to research the marketplace, to know that you're buying the correct plan for yourself and that you can afford it, or maybe if you get subsidized by some of the financial costs that the government will provide to you.
Yeah.
Now, the whole concept of Obamacare, Sherrie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I have a full-time job, so my employer offers me health coverage. They pay for part of it, and I pay for part of it through payroll deduction. Actually, at the beginning of this year, 2013, we got a rebate.
That's wonderful.
Our insurance company, which happens to be Blue Shield in California, apparently there is one of the things that I think is good about Obamacare says that the insurance company actually has to use a certain percentage of the money they collect for patient care.
That's correct.
They have to put it back to the patient. What is that percentage? Is it 80%?
It's 80%.
Yeah.
So if they, and obviously Blue Shield and I guess a lot of other companies didn't hit that threshold, and they actually have to rebate the premiums back to the policyholders. And in the case of my company, they forwarded that rebate right back directly to us, and I thought that was great.
Yeah, the rebate is if your employer is paying 100% of your employee cost, they don't have to rebate any of that money. But if you are covering dependents, they should rebate the portion of it, or if you're paying any portion towards your cost. So they did put out good calculators in the system that would allow the employer to decide how to rebate that money correctly.
So if you have insurance already, then like I don't have to worry about anything about Obamacare. It doesn't really affect me.
Well, there's 3 segments of the market. There's the individual market, there's small group, and there's large group. So the individual and small group has the exchange program available to them, which they're 2 separate exchanges. You have the individual and you have the shop. And out of that, small group employers, which currently is from size 2 employees up to 50, do not have to offer health insurance coverage to their employees. If they do offer it, they may be eligible for a tax credit depending on payroll and what that cost of payroll is divided out amongst all the employees. Individuals do have to obtain actual health insurance coverage, or they're subject to a penalty. Large group, which is in your case, Brian, with your company, it's over 50 lives, you have to offer health insurance coverage to all employees that work 30 hours or more per week, or you're subject to penalty come 2015. Now, it was supposed to be penalty as of 2014, but as you know, we're writing 30,000 pages of legislation right now, so it changes every single day. and now they delayed it up to 2015. And that penalty, some employers may take the hit, because if you take the cost of what it's going to cost you per employee and a number, if you're penalized per year $2,000 per employee minus the first 30 off the census of covered lives, some people may take the hit of the penalty. So
in dollars and cents, okay. Now let's create a scenario here. I work at a fast food joint, and right now I'm working 35 hours a week. So now they're saying, okay, we're going to cut your hours so you're below 30 hours. And I'm making a minimum wage. I'm making $10 an hour, let's say. So now I as that part-time employee, then now I go to the exchange, and I pick my plan, gold, silver, bronze, or whatever I feel like I can afford. I mean, are companies really going to go out of business because of these so-called skyrocketing costs that everybody's telling about on TV? I'm just trying to get down to the reality of it, because when you could turn on every TV channel and you will hear, you know, a partisan opinion on the far left or the far right, or however my screen is going. But what is the actual reality about this? I don't think these companies are going to go out of business.
I don't think they're going to go out of business. You have to remember that small group, you're not subject to provide health insurance coverage, and that's from 2 to 50 lives. It's the large group employers, and out of the seminars that I've conducted, I've found a lot of the large group employers are wanting to provide the health insurance coverage and to comply with Obamacare. And the place where they see a lot of maybe the penalties coming in is a lot of employers may have temporary staff, and those temporary staff are leased out by a payroll company, and that payroll company, it would have to then get benefits for these people, and they're going to charge back the employer. So that's where there's a huge impact in like manufacturing companies where they may have 200 temporary staff people. Also, employers can't just turn around and say, I'm going to take all my full-time employees and put them part-time under 30 hours per week. There is a look-back period to the penalty, and that look-back period is on average of the payroll, and also usually 6 months into 2013. So if they were to make any adjustments of whether or not to offer the health coverage on large group, they would have had to do so by July 1st. So it's really smart for large group employers to really know what the law is, because it's truly dotted on the I's and crossed on the T's, to really make sure that they are going to be following it, or they're subject to the penalty come 2015.
Do you agree with the penalty that, and what if they don't do the right thing, that there should be a penalty there? In other words, you're protecting the people?
I don't agree with the penalty. My biggest concern is whether or not we can fund the exchange and afford it going forward. So when I look at the large group arena, I think that large group employers, most of them that I have been in front of, do offer health insurance coverage. I think that where your problem is whether or not we can fund these exchanges per each state that has it up and running. And they're doing that by charging fees to small group employers and large group employers to fund the exchange program for the first 3 years. Then what happens after 3 years? You know, in California 20 years ago when I was selling individual insurance, they started the HIPAA program, and all Americans would be covered in actual California without being subject to pre-X, and the costs were extremely high. That program lasts 1 year, and then it got wiped out.
Yeah, because people start to understand. So you can't underestimate the people out there and what they're getting themselves into. They all individually find out what's going on.
Well, yeah, you also have the individual market now that has to obey to health reform through the exchange. So as an individual, if I do not purchase health insurance because I'm not covered through a group plan, I'm penalized on my 2015 tax return. So as an individual in 2014 for not having it, it's $95 or 1% of your income. 2015 it goes up to $325. In 2016, it goes up to $695. So that's an individual. Family's even higher than that. So who's to say people are going to even file their tax return? Now, what they
I think you brought up a very good point for our audience out there, because I don't think they actually realize about this individuality of that you've still got to take care of it. And they seem to think that if you go part-time, you know, they're avoiding this insurance, and now if they have these penalties, it's going to stop that. So now you can't have, you know, complete part-time people in your business.
Yeah, part-time, you know, you're going to have them going over to the exchange, and they're going to look for guidance, and it's not the employers that know it. It's whether or not you have a good, smart broker going in there helping them to guide them of making a sound decision going forward. And the penalties, like for the family itself in 2014, I believe $285, and then 2015 it goes up to $975 for a family of 4 or more. 2016 jumps up to $2,085. So as an individual, will I file my taxes in 2015 if I think I want to be hit by that penalty? A lot of people probably won't file.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's say you take the penalty. There are people out there that are saying, I don't want the government to force me to get insurance. Okay, fine. So they pay the penalty. They pay the $95. 6 months from now, they get cancer. Okay? So they've opted out of everything. They've paid the penalty. Now they get cancer. They're going to need care, and now they have no insurance, and they're opted out of Obamacare. So do those people now have the pleasure of paying 100% of all their health care costs and the penalty?
They have to pay 100%. They do have to pay for their own health insurance cost if they do not elect to go in. There is open enrollment periods under the exchange as an individual. So the beginning of the exchange started as of October 1st. I believe it stops as of March 31st, 2014. That's the first year. Thereafter, it's going to change, and it's going to be just like your Medicare RxD plans, where it opens up in October 1st and closes December 7th. So as an individual, if I don't elect to enroll into an individual medical plan and I'm not covered under a group plan, that's it. I'm penalized and I can't enroll until next year. It's just how the Medicare system's currently running as well. There's special enrollment periods. So if I'm covered under a group, under small or large, and then I lose coverage because I'm terminated or I leave employment, that's the only thing that's a qualifying event that allows me to go into the exchange or to elect coverage. It's like I have a 30-day window to do it, or if I get married or I have a child, that will allow me to change the status and maybe get the coverage.
Or moving or anything. They do give you that. I happen to be one of those people that got that, actually. And because I moved from Los Angeles to Vegas, and then I had to change all my insurance, and I was not at the right time and at the right place. But they were very obliging, and they took care of me, and everything was fine. But what I wanted to ask you was, how do you help the producers and directors and people in show business, because they're in kind of a different arena. They're kind of self-employed. You've got a lot of the actresses and actors and people that actually sort of don't really look at insurance because they're sort of out filming and doing all their stuff. How do they manage, and how do you help them?
Well, the biggest thing with the entertainment industry is a lot of them are covered under, like you said, the guild plans, SAG, Writers Guild, Directors Guild, and they either qualify or they don't qualify for medical insurance. And if they don't qualify, they have the option to go on COBRA, or they have the option to look like every individual for a medical plan that's going to be suitable for them. COBRA is very high for them when they go into that part of it. And so in the past, it's been putting them into a comparable plan that will allow them to still see doctors outside of the network that pays at a customary and reasonable reimbursement on claims. That's not going to be there anymore. You know, you don't have the same plans that they're used to seeing. You don't have the same networks who used to, since I'm here in California, a lot of your entertainment want to go to UCLA or to Cedars-Sinai Hospital for care because it's two research hospitals that are well known. Well, under a lot of the new plans, you're going to see a select network. So depending on cost and willing to pay, they may not be able to go to UCLA or Cedars. So we have to navigate them. Usually it's to tell them go on Cobra. Elect Cobra for now. Write out the system. Let's see what happens. This legislation changes every day. Tomorrow it may be postponed. We don't know. So
but that's your
well, it better
recommendation.
not be postponed. It's a law, and it was signed into law 3 years ago.
yeah, it is a law, but it can be postponed on certain parts of the legislation, like you saw in the penalty for large group. They didn't. They tried to squash the individual and try and postpone it, but as you see, it went through. It changes every day. I'm writing a book every day.
It does. You are definitely writing a book. You're very knowledgeable, and I just want to thank you for.
I'm sure glad, Sherrie, that I can call you anytime I want.
Absolutely. And,
I have a lot of clients who have business with your firm, so.
And also send me the invite to Vegas as well. It sounds like you guys are going to have a wonderful trip.
Yeah, and if you want to come up for the weekend, come up and stay at the M, and we'll all have a wonderful time.
Sounds like
Sherrie,
fun.
You've been amazing. A big insight, actually, to this big Obama plan and the insurance and people and what we can all do and can't do. And it's just amazing. I think what the message out there is be alert, read up about it, and don't be afraid to delve into it and just see exactly what it is. I think that's what people need to do to be knowledgeable. But thank you so much, Sherrie.
You're welcome.
Amazing. Amazing.
Now, Sherrie, how do they get a hold of your company? Can an individual person call Momentous and get help and advice on these types of things, or do you only deal with larger companies such as my firm?
My line is always open to help any consumer out there that wants to learn about the new system out there. We deal with individual, small group, and large group, and we have a full staff here that's dedicated to helping all clients. The best place to reach us is always dialing me direct, and it's 818-933-2739, and I do have myself available 24/7 like everybody else in this industry.
Oh gosh, that's a great number to have, everyone.
And also, what about, do you have a website?
Yeah, it's www.momentousins.com, or you can do www.mmibi.com to find us.
Oh, that's wonderful. And of course, that's also posted on our website, everyone. So, Sherrie, boy, the time is really flying today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you.
And we will see you very soon, I'm sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.